One of the things I really enjoyed was folk games. You weren't allowed to dance. There's very religious people around here that wouldn't let you dance.
Folk dance.
We had folk games, and we did polkas. we did everything, but they call them games, not. And I was pretty good because I was one of four that demonstrated for the. They had us demonstrate for the school.
I guess favorite memories is everything. I mean, I don't, it was very wonderful, but I guess the camaraderie we had among ourselves, was probably favorite. That we got along pretty good together, and the family and everybody.
What were your memories, Dad?
Call that manure.
Well, I remember getting off the school bus one day and getting surrounded by two girls.
What were their names?
They were
Christine and
Annie and Christine.
What was their last name?
Christine was last name, Embry. And I took her to a FFA picnic one time when I was a freshman in high school, and that was a big mistake because all the boys, she was kind of cute, and all the boys gathered around Christine, and they were all trying to talk to her. So I was kind of out of place.
Uncle Paul, you were talking about your memories of hanging tobacco in the barn earlier.
I always got the top rail because that was the easiest one to hang, and I was the most athletic at that time.
Why was it the easiest one to hang?
Well, because you only handled one stalk,
one stalk.
And everybody else had to handle all of the rest of them.
And
the word Winston used a while ago, camaraderie, there wasn't anybody on this Miller's Creek would know what that meant.
I said it was the closest thing to
great
heaven you can
great
get.
place to grow a garden. You can live off the land with
Work hard. Hard work don't hurt you. Sitting around on your butt all day hurts you.
I did that.
Huh?
I got hurt a
No,
lot.
not very.
This guy right here, my oldest brother, my parents were poor, didn't have a lot of money. He worked at Carhartt Overhaul right out of high school, getting ready to go to college, and he bought my graduation suit for $19.55.
Oh, my grandpa bought he was running through money. He ran through money like water. Ollie Burns.
Okay.
Ollie Burns nickel ran through a lot of money and land and everything. And no matter what he got a hold of, but he spoiled his sisters spoiled him, and his aunts would spoil him. Everybody just thought he was the cutest thing. He'd order up stuff from every place. He'd order oysters from have them shipped in under ice. He bought a car. Didn't know how to drive. He bought one of those old Model A cars. I guess it was Model A. I think. He bought a car. He didn't know how to drive, and so anyway, they were in church. They parked the car in the shed by the barn, and he left it. And my dad would be sitting at home because they'd go to church all day, dinner on the ground in the afternoon. So then anyway, he parked the car. Anyway. They had the car parked in the shed. My dad would get on it and just sit on it and imagine himself driving that car. And then one Sunday, when they were still gone, they were gone every Sunday. He decided to see if it would start. So he got out and ran around, turned the crank a few times, and it started. So then he sat there and was really feeling good, And then the Sunday or two later, he said, well, maybe put it in gear. So he he started and put it in gear, and he pulled it forward a little bit, and then he put it in reverse and set it back a little bit. He did that fun. That was fun. But eventually he decided to, well, why don't you just backed it all the way out of the shed. And when he backed it out of the shed, he decided, well, why might as well drive down the lane. And the lane, along the lane, probably about 1/8 of a mile, and down to the grassy creek. So he drove down there, drove it back, parked it in the shed, shut it up, left it just like it was, except that when he walked back out, he noticed that there's tire tracks all up and down that dusty road. So his thought was to do it. He got a bunch of corn and scattered it all down the road so the chickens would pick up the corn and scratch out the tire tracks.
That's your best story.
So eventually, Uncle Raleigh, who was supposed to teach Grandpa to drive, came by and came up and visited us, and he spent about an hour trying to teach Papa to drive, and he could not do it. He couldn't teach him anything. He wasn't able to teach him anything. So finally, Uncle Raleigh said, why don't we try to teach Ernie so you at least have somebody that knows how to drive that thing. And at that time, Dad was just puffed up. He couldn't believe it. His luck, I mean, having Uncle Raleigh teach him, so he's going to be the driver. So of course, he had no trouble teaching Dad to drive because Dad already knew how to drive. Drumright was from Kentucky, just like I was, but he didn't think anybody from Kentucky would ever get any farther than Ohio, maybe Cincinnati, maybe to Dayton. So I was telling him about being at what I did out in the Indian reservation and so forth. He didn't believe a word of it. I was making it all up. So so I told him that my brother worked with Procter Gamble, and my father-in-law worked for Procter Gamble, and my wife worked with. And about the time I was telling him that story, my wife comes through they brought she was a lab technician that they tested products out. They went out and bought P&G products and so off out in the stores, and they brought them in and tested them, see how well they were doing, And that's what she did. And so she came in and she's all dressed up. She was really, really cute looking, I thought at that time, and had her hair done up and really looked. She's lab. She wasn't dressed in dirty clothes like I was. So and said Drumright. In fact, that's my wife coming right there. Well, she didn't even say she didn't acknowledge me or say hi or anything. They just went on by, and so then I was getting desperate because I knew Drumright didn't believe anything I told him. I didn't like people not believing me. So when I happened to be clocking out as Paul was clocking in, I said, Paul, tell this guy that you're my brother. And he looked down and said, "Why?"
Well, I've never seen you before in my life. Who are you?
I told her
You look like Mom, too. You got a nose like Mom, and eyes a little bit like Dad, but not. Your eyes are a little wider than Dad's. He had those narrow, beady eyes like I have.
Oh, yeah? It's so good to see you. You really surprised
Well, that's what we aim to
me.
do.
I always loved you, Grandma.
So do I.
But you just skeet away.